Hey guys, hope everybody's doing okay. Um, Welcome to the Wednesday night show with me, Watch2K99. I'm sorry, I don't really have my usual shtick going on right now. I'm going to try to give you the best show that I can under the circumstances, with everything that's been going on in this country. And I'm not here to make this political. That's not why you're here, and that's not why I'm here. But God help this country if we can't even have a freaking conversation about things we disagree with anymore without somebody getting murdered. So the news just came down about an hour ago, and I am pretty shaken about it. I'm very upset about it. I'm downright pissed about it. I thought I was angry about the Jets on Sunday. I couldn't even bear to record about the Jets on Sunday. But you know what? I got a different kind of anger inside of me right now. So, guys, I appreciate everybody hanging out with me. I do have my notes as always, and Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover will be joining us at around 6:30. We're going to talk to him about the Bills, get a little preview going for Jets Bills. So it's going to be a little bit of a different format than what we usually do. I'm just going to give you the guys the best that I have. Again, we're here every Wednesday night, 6 p.m. We got our loyal folks in here in the chat. I see it's already starting to fill up a little bit. We might even have some Bills fans in here too. And hey, if that happens, then that's great. That's cool. You know, I'm sure there'll be a little bit of friendly debate going on back and forth, and that's fine. But Bills Carolina, Owen is his name, was nice enough to have me on. That his show will be dropping in the next day or two, either Thursday or Friday. So I'm sure he'll give us some more details about that. All right. I'll try to get through this as best I can. And so let's get right to the sports, guys, because that's why you're here. And if I could give you a little bit of a distraction for a little bit, and if I'm being honest, I could use a little distraction myself right now. Hank G, Harlan, glad you guys are here. Appreciate it. All right, let's talk about what's going on in the world of sports. Let's get into a little bit of the of 3 and out. So let's get into some baseball. So the New York Yankees, well, for 6 innings on Tuesday, the Yankees and the Tigers played a very nice, clean baseball game and possible ALCS preview, quite possibly. And then the Yankees allowed the Tigers to score 9 runs in the 7th inning as they beat the Yankees 12-2. Fernando Cruz and Mark Leiter charged with a combined 9 earned runs without recording an out. I'm amazed the Mets haven't done that yet. And then Toronto beats Houston. The Yankees are now 3 back of the Blue Jays in the AL East. As far as the New York Mets go, and they're going to be attempting to play Philadelphia in about an hour or so, I have the same feeling right now about this team that I did with this past season's New York Rangers team, where I am just numb. I'm disgusted. I'm disappointed. And I expect them to lose every freaking night. 4 straight losses. They lose again to Philly on Tuesday. Harrison Bader, my God. The Mets let Harrison Bader go. He signs with Minnesota. I didn't have a huge issue with that at the time. But then they trade him to Philadelphia. Harrison Bader against the Mets this season is hitting .576. 576. This is Daniel Murphy, the sequel. The team is so infuriating. The pitching, Sean Manaea is clearly hurt, and I just want him to be shut down for the season. He is clearly pitching in a compromised state. You know, I don't hate the guy, but clearly he is not pitching right. He's nowhere near what he was last year. Griffin Canning, they never recovered from him getting hurt. Now Tyler McGill's hurt again. Kodai Senga, who knows? He has so many mental issues when it comes to pitching. He is the equivalent of Pedro Serrano in the Major League movies, where everything's got to be just right, just so for him to go out there and perform. Absolutely. Clay Holmes can't go more than 5 innings. We've established that over the last few months. And this offense, they are top 10 in every category in baseball. But the stretches of ineptitude that they go through, it is jarring. It is jarring. They either score double digits or they maybe get 1 run, 3 hits in a given game. They look like they're trying to swing the bat with dental floss. But what I can't stand more than anything is the lack of fire and the lack of resilience. Baseball is at its most exciting when you think your team is never out of the game, because it's the one sport where there's no time, there's no clock, there's no time limit. So a comeback could happen. Not with this team. 0-61 when trailing after 8 innings. Oh, and the Giants won again. So the wild card lead is down to 2 games, really 3 because the Mets had the tiebreaker. But the Mets in their last 76 game, ever since that Friday night against Tampa Bay, that particular night, not going there. I want to go there. I won't go there. 31-45 record. Only 3 teams are worse than them. The Nationals, the Twins, and the Rockies. And here they are in a situation where they are doing everything they can to try to sneak their way into the playoffs.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game.
It's a good question, Jim. It's a damn good question. And as far as the New York Giants go, look, I didn't love Washington coming into the season. And they didn't really play well, but the Giants couldn't even get out of first gear. Without Andrew Thomas, forget it. That offense is Adam Gase, Nathaniel Hackett level. Here's the most amazing stat about the Giants. They are the first team to not score a touchdown in 3 straight season openers since the Detroit Lions did it in 1940, 41, and 42. You're talking World War II here. Wow. And any Giant fan who wants Jackson Dart behind center, my question is why? Why would you want to put him behind an offensive lineman that's going to get him killed? You'd be looking at David Carr Part 2. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They got beat down the way they did. Whew. All right. Well, I think that's about enough of that. Let's get into a little bit of Jets right now. You know what? I'll just be honest with you guys. I didn't have it in me to record. I just couldn't do it after Sunday. I tried 3 or 4 times to start a video, and I just kept breaking down, screaming and swearing, and I just did not want to put that out. I couldn't. You know, my former mentor always says gripe intelligently, right? I just didn't have the intelligently in me in that moment. You know, seeing several Steeler fans in our Jets bar, celebrating, waving those frickin' towels. I want to just shove them right up their frickin' noses. Very, very frustrating loss. It's like I need 24 hours to settle down after a loss like that one. I really, really do. And you know what? It's the Jets' first fourth quarter loss of the year. They had 6 last year. They already got the first one down. So, but there has been some news over this week. So let's talk about what's been going on in the world of the New York Jets. So Tyler Johnson, I think most of us saw this coming. He was signed to the 53-man roster. He was promoted to the practice squad before the game. I think we all knew that they released him only to sign him back. They saved a little bit of guaranteed money, so that's all well and good. So Tyler Johnson on the 53-man roster, played a good deal on Sunday. More on that in a little bit. And the corresponding move was putting AVT on season-ending IR. And Harlan and, hey, Billy, I see you're here too. Of course, this was the big news. This is what we pretty much were all looking for. Xavier Gipson released this morning. And credit to Aaron Glenn. He talked about players who were letting the team down, who were causing the team to lose games outright. They were not going to be on the field. And you will never see Xavier Gipson wearing a Jets uniform ever again. So Xavier Gipson, it's quite simple. We thank you for one play and one play only. But as far as you go with the New York Jets,
He gone!
We wish you the best in your future endeavors. And then a corresponding move, the Jets today signed Isaiah Williams, and I do see that Harlan Abraham right there, alluded to that particular move. So let's talk about Isaiah Williams for a minute. 5'10", 185 pounds, second-year player from Illinois, joins after a stint on the Bengals practice squad, and he signed with the Lions originally back in May of 2024. So Williams started his rookie season with the Detroit Lions before being waived on November 7th. So he was waived by the Lions about midway through the season, played in 8 games. He had 11 punt returns for 93 yards. That's about 8.5 yards per return. So now we look at the return game. We don't know when Kene Nwangwu will be back from his hamstring injury, but he hasn't been put on IR yet. So I have a little bit of encouragement, but I got to say, I'm still expecting him to miss 4 weeks. I would be surprised if he doesn't. So now you're looking at this Williams kid. You're looking at what else? Isaiah Davis. You're looking at Arian Smith. Maybe the Jets call up Jamal Pritchett this week. I think they absolutely should do that. It might be a revolving door all season. Not the biggest deal in the world if you're going through different players to get a returner that you're comfortable with. And it's funny how we used to just dread the thought of Jeremy Curley returning a punt because we knew Mr. Fair Catch. We'd always make fun of him for all the fair catches, but I got to give Jeremy Curley credit for one thing. He never dropped the ball. Or it seems like he never dropped the ball. Yeah, Jeremy, Danger Zone's right on it. Definitely check out his channel. Subscribe if you haven't already. Please hit the thumbs up for the show as well. Definitely appreciate it. So, yeah, the punt return thing, it might be something to keep our eyes on, but hopefully Kene is back and ready to go because remember, if he doesn't get hurt, Xavier Gibson's not the one returning that fatal kick return against Pittsburgh this past Sunday. Couple of injury updates at this point. So again, Longwu not on IR yet. If he was, he would have to miss at least 4 weeks. I expect Jamal Pritchett to be activated this Sunday. We'll see what winds up happening. John Simpson, give him credit. We don't know what happened to him, but he did miss one snap, came right back. Thank goodness, because if this team had to be without both starting guards, that would be pretty scary. Mason Taylor did miss practice today. His ankle is still banged up. It's related to the high ankle sprain he had several weeks ago. And I got to be honest with you about this. When he got hurt, and I'm pretty sure it was a high sprain, when you hear that, you think, 4 weeks, 6 weeks? He was back in a week and a half. And I'm like, how is he already back from a high ankle sprain? And he came back so quickly that it did concern me to some extent. He seemed fine Sunday, had a very good catch, but he didn't practice today, and now you got to worry. Is this going to be an issue all season long? I know Jeremy Ruckert played well on Sunday. Hallelujah. I understand that. But how much are we really counting on Jeremy Ruckert? Mason Taylor is needed on this team, okay? And hopefully he is able to suit up against Buffalo. We really don't know what to expect, but, it is something that is going to bear monitoring for the foreseeable future because the only way to really heal that thing is a whole lot of rest. And this is not the time for rest. Harlan, Tippmann is now a starting player and will be going in the future. He was going to start anyway, I firmly believe. I never, ever thought for a second Josh Myers was going to be the team's starting center. I just never believed it. Tippmann's just too good, man. He's too good. All right, let's get into, so we're going to get out of the news. There we go. Remove that. Got a whole bunch of slides here. So I got usually I have like 3 total going. Now that it's game time, I have like 7 or 8 going. All right. So recapping game 1. Now I'm going to get into this a little bit, not into a ton of depth, just like some final thoughts since I haven't really come on the air since the game ended. Like I said, I really needed a full day to calm down. I really, really did because the Jets did so much right. They did so much to win this game, and yet they still found a way to lose. Snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, trademarks of good Jets teams. They averaged nearly 5 yards per run against a stacked box. Pittsburgh was not, playing a lot of, 5 receivers, 5 players in the secondary. They were trying to put 8 in the box. They were trying to limit the run game, and they still struggled to do it. Receivers were running open a bunch of times, something that we were definitely not used to seeing. Give you some numbers. Justin Fields completed 16 of 22 passes in this game. 14 of them were uncontested catches. All right. He completed only 2 contested balls. What that means is most of those catches, receivers were running wide open. And past Garrett Wilson, what are we really talking about here? Tyler Johnson, Josh Reynolds, Jeremy Ruckert. These are not exactly players on anybody's fantasy team. You know what I'm talking about? So it was very, very encouraging to see that. But the running game was on. Offensive line looked good, especially the right side. Armand Membu, highest graded offensive player for New York. I think the highest graded right tackle by PFF in general, which is amazing. No pressures, no sacks allowed on 26 pass block snaps. Had a 90.3 run block grade. That is amazing. I like the way Brees was running. He was running with purpose. He was hitting the holes with purpose. I wasn't seeing a lot of stutter stepping, which we saw too much of the last 2 years. I just hope the offense didn't play as well as it could have because, you can't count on an offense scoring 30 points every single week. Okay. Not unless you're the greatest show on turf or something like that. But I was very encouraged with what I saw. A lot of young talent. That's very encouraging. Then on defense, well, I'll tell you what, the pass rush was there. Will, Quinnen, JJ, they did their job. And I know everybody's going to jump on Brandon Stevens. I get it. I get it. He did not have a good game. But I want to just call out this narrative that everything is seemingly on Xavier Gibson and Brandon Stevens. Tony Adams, it wasn't Tony Adams tackling that was a problem. It was his angles to the tackling. The way he took an angle to DK Metcalf, that was so bad. I talked to you guys earlier before the season began about our ability to tackle at the safety position. That worried me. And it reared its head. This is what I was afraid of. Malachi Moore had one snap on Sunday. I think he deserves more snaps this Sunday. Michael Carter II, we love him. We trust him. But he allowed 5 catches, 67 yards allowed. He blew a tackle on DK Metcalf too. Quincy Williams, the late hit out of bounds. Jamian Sherwood was not good in coverage. He gave up several tackles. Catches. This was not a good day for the linebackers either. And there were just a lot of miscommunications in the secondary. Steeler receivers were running open. And we know Aaron Rodgers, he will exploit the mismatch. If there's an open receiver, he will find it and he will throw it. He was not going to miss those throws. And every turnover player went the Steelers' way. 2 passes by Aaron Rodgers that could have been intercepted, which was alluded to in the chat I saw earlier. Yeah, who I know someone said it. Yeah, Harlan referred to it. The 2 guys who dropped, one of which was Brandon Stevens, by the way. Yeah. So those 2 interceptions that they missed, the Steelers fumbled twice each time the Steelers recovered, and the Jets had their one fumble. Of course, the Steelers recovered. So every turnover possibility went Pittsburgh's way. Every single time. It's just the way it went, guys. It's just the way it went. I'm going to get into the snap counts in 1 second. Just want to see a couple of comments. Billy, Bills picked up a few injuries. Hey, Billy. Bills picked up a few injuries in the Ravens game too. A couple of D-backs. Yep, that is. Yep. Well, they did suffer an injury or two, and we're going to talk about that with Owen in about 10 minutes or so. And Owen's actually on vacation with his family right now on the coast of Carolina. He actually lives not that far from me, so he's actually taking time out of his vacation to join us in a little bit. So just want everybody to know that. Danger zone. Adam, do you think that after Garrett Wilson that it mattered who was targeted in the system? Felt like they all blended together. I will say this. It was very rare where a receiver stuck out to me. Very, very rarely did that happen. But I will say this. I feel like we did not take shots down the field. It was a lot of short to intermediate passes. The one time, it felt like the one time, I don't know how many times they went 20 yards or more, but the touchdown to Garrett, they went deep. And that's when he had one-on-one coverage. One of the few times all game he had one-on-one coverage. So that was kind of the situation. I don't think they're counting on these players to get open right away. And Arian Smith didn't exactly get a whole lot of time on offense. More on that later. Secondary has to drastically improve. You know what? I think a lot of it, though, is teachable. I really do. It is the new defense. I think it was just communication breakdowns. And I think this can get improved over the course of the season. The Stevens contract is a head scratcher. You know what? He's going to be here for 2 years minimum. All right. I know it's a 3-year deal, but the way it's structured, he's going to be here for 2 years. It's just something that we have to accept. So we just have to live with that. But again, I do think you saw some athleticism. My biggest issue with Stevens, I felt he couldn't get his footing right. I feel like he was slipping on the turf a bunch of times, and that was what was really hurting him. But I thought he had 1 or 2 very good pass breakups. I could think of one against Calvin Austin very late in the game. But he's got to learn to do things like turning his head around, stuff like that. Stevens definitely has some talent. I really do believe that. I'm not ready to I'm not going to bench him after 1 game. I think not with the investment they made in him. It's not going to happen. And remember, well, I'll get to AZ Thomas in a few minutes because I know everybody wants to start a rookie, by the way, who never saw the field on Sunday. I'm just pointing that out. With the Bills D-backs getting injured, do you think the Jets might try to pass more? I think it's very, very possible. I think it's very possible. And I want to hear what Owen has to say about that too. Yeah. We got to remember one thing. I know the Bills looked good against the Jets last year, but they didn't have to deal with JJ, Josh Allen's personal tormentor. So let's get into the snap counts right now. All right. I want to spend a few minutes on that. So on offense, we had 64 snaps. The Jets, of course, had only one quarterback on the field. Justin Fields played all 64 snaps. Now at running back, Breece Hall played 37, Braylon Allen played 20, Isaiah Davis played 8, and Andrew Beck played 5. So what you really are looking at here is pretty much all the time the Jets played just one running back. It wasn't a situation where you would see Breece and Braylon on the field at the same time. I think that was one snap where that happened. I think maybe like Allen, I remember Allen and Beck being on the field at the same time. But from what we saw so far, it's going to be a situation where it's just one running back at a time. And the way Breece was running, it was smart to keep giving him the rock. I thought with Braylon, outside of the one touchdown, it felt like Pittsburgh was expecting every time Allen was on the field, it was a run up the middle. It was almost like the Jets were giving the play away. And then they just kind of clogged up the middle, and boom, that was pretty much all she wrote. All right. So then let's get into wide receivers. Garrett Wilson played the whole game, 64 snaps. Josh Reynolds played 62. Tyler Johnson, 33. Arian Smith only played 6. So that is something to point out. Tyler Johnson did play half the game. Arian Smith, though, they weren't quite ready to trust him with a full array of plays. And Arian Smith only gets 6 plays. Tight end, Mason Taylor, 56 snaps. Man, they threw him right in. Jeremy Ruckert played only 29. And then on the offensive line, we got Olu. It was pretty straightforward across the board. Olu, Josh Myers, Joe Tippmann, Armand, 64 snaps. Josh Simpson, John Simpson, the warrior who is, 63 snaps. Xavier Newman came in for the 1 snap, and that was it. All right, well, guys, I'll tell you what we're going to go ahead and do. We're going to get back to the snap counts in just a moment, but I do see that our guest is joining us right now. So, it looks like he's a few minutes early, so he's ready. So I'm I'm thinking he's good to go. So, guys, I want to introduce you to a fellow Carolina resident. You never know what part of North Carolina he's going to be invading. Whether he's in eastern North Carolina where he lives or all the way out in eastern North Carolina where he takes his vacations, he might be taking over the east side. He might take over the west side. You never know where he's going to be, but I know he's going to be representing Bills Mafia very, very proudly. And since he has a team he can be proud of, why not? So everybody, let's give a warm New York Sports WickerMedia and Jets Nation welcome to Owen from Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover. Owen, how are you doing today?
Yeah. Hey, Adam. I'm doing great. Thank you so much. Full disclosure, I am in a Carolina. I am in I'm on a family vacation now. And I know I'm a few minutes early here, so I appreciate hopping in. And I know there's going to be some Bills Mafia tuning in around 6:30 here. But, I appreciate it. Hope you can hear me well. Like I said, I'm on vacation. I am in what I call the Disney World of the Carolinas, Myrtle Beach, and we are at Broadway at the beach. So hopefully you can hear me well. But I'm excited to be on here with you.
I'm hearing you great. I have spent my time at Broadway at the beach,
Perfect.
Even at the satellite version of the Pro Football Hall of Fame that they have over there. I don't know if it's still there, but they do have a Pro Football Hall of Fame in Myrtle Beach, which is pretty rad. I had no idea. So I'll have to definitely check onto it. But it is his 30th birthday here, I guess. So plug out to Broadway, but but in any case, so I'm really excited to be on here with you. Yeah, I appreciate you having me on your show as well. That show should be dropping either Thursday or Friday, I believe. And you have me on.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. Yeah.
All right. Oh, and I
appreciate jumping on.
Yeah, I see you have a friend here, Mo McDonald.
Oh, okay, there we go.
Okay. I see how it's going to be. All right. So we got some questions because even though we are division rivals, we want to get to know this edition of the Buffalo Bills. So first of all, let's just get into how this. We know the Bills have been a dominant team. 5 straight division titles, all these playoff appearances.
That's right. Yep.
To the Super Bowl. How is this Bills team different than what we've seen over the last few years?
Well, I mean, certainly when you got Josh Allen and quarterback there, I mean, I can remember a year or two ago, there was a big talk about wide receiver, Stephon Digsley's Buffalo. And then big talk amongst Bills fans, Bills Mafia, about how is the Bills offense going to run? How are they going to be able to do it without Diggs? And the answer came right out. I mean, Josh Allen, as long as he's behind center, the Bills are always going to be in the talk. They're always going to have an opportunity to win. So I would say really the difference here with this Bills team this year is not so much on the offensive side of the ball, but it's definitely going to be the back end, the safeties, the cornerbacks. That's going to be our only issue reaching the pinnacle, is how well the defense can stack up long haul, especially the back half of that defense. But again, we talked about this on my podcast, Adam. I mean, you have Josh Allen, you're going to be in every game.
No, there's no doubt about it. And hey, I guess we have our teams have more in common than we thought. I mean, with questions about the secondary possibly being the biggest question of the team, and some of our loyal members here that they are greeting you, Harlan Abraham. We call him Father Abraham, and his many sons, the many sons of Father Abraham. Welcome, Owen, and thank you for taking time out of your vacation. And we got another fellow podcasters, Danger Zone. Sorry for the impending beatdown, Owen. You'll be owing us one. Week 18. I think there's a post somewhere.
Yeah, that's right.
Name, yeah. So always busting out the puns. All right. So tell us about now. When we think of the Buffalo Bills, we think, of course, number 17. We think about some of the guys on the defensive line. We think of a certain left tackle who we're not exactly fond of because he likes to talk a whole lot of smack. But who's a player or two on the Bills roster that's flying a little bit under the radar, but is going to be really valuable to their success?
Yeah, this is a great question, Adam. So, I would say going into the season here, wide receiver would probably be the area that the Bills would be looking at doing. However, I feel like Coleman's a bit under the radar. I know, obviously, he's a big time. He's polarizer athlete. I do believe this is going to be his breakout year. But the one guy I got to go with here as kind of under the radar is Dorian Strong, the cornerback. He played last week. He played 100% of the defensive snaps for the Bills, and he had 0 receptions on him. 0, none. And that is a 6th-round draft pick out of Virginia Tech. And if you know anything about the Bills and Brandon Beane, you got to look at Benford, right? Villanova kid, late round, 6th-round draft pick. So I think with the issues that we have in cornerback, we're not 100% sure about Trey White. Benford got banged up. Now he's on the other side there. I think Dorian Strong is going to be the guy for us on cornerback that is really going to be flying under the radar. And again, somebody that's going to give high props, obviously to Brandon Beane. And I want a preference, though. It is week 1, and I know we talked about this on my podcast there. It is week 1, but he was playing Lamar Jackson offense there, which, for a rookie 6th-round draft pick, that could be polarizing. And the fact that he played 100% of the snaps and didn't have 1 reception, I got to go with him as going to be the Bills' under the radar pick there for him.
Very interesting. Dorian Strong. I'll tell you what, as good as the Bills are, they're hitting on a 6th-round pick. That spells bad news for the rest of the AFC East and the conference, for that matter.
For sure, for sure. And Benford, keep an eye on Benford. I know he's a guy right now that a lot of people talk about, got an extension in the offseason. But again, he's a late-round draft pick out of Villanova, the basketball school. And Brandon Beane scouted him. That's kind of the organization kind of value that Brandon Beane and the scouts do. We find it. Matt Milano out of BC, all pro. So, yeah, Dorian Strong definitely flying under the radar, and I suspect him to have a big year, especially with the cornerback help that we need.
Well, that's right. I think the Bills are going to have a very interesting decision on Sunday, figuring out how they're going to try to take Garrett Wilson out of the game, especially if that's a little bit compromised. Do you trust the 6th-round rookie? A rhetorical question. Do you trust the 6th-round rookie to take away a top 10, 15 receiver in the NFL? That's a big risk to take. So.
Yeah, it is. And to be honest with you, Adam, I think if Trey Wright is back in the lineup, I think, I think he's probably not starting there. Obvious, you're going to have Benford and Trey Wright on the opposite side. But again, going into the Baltimore game, played 100% of the snaps and no receptions. I feel a lot more comfortable if Trey can't go there, but totally understand that for sure.
Gotcha. All right. Well, we saw Baltimore really dominate Buffalo in the run game on Sunday in their the Bills victory. Is this a concern that Bills fans have, or are fans writing off as a one-time? It's the first game of the season. Just chalk it up and come back strong week 2.
Yeah, this has been a thorn in the Bills Mafia's butts. This running game, really, since Sean McDermott's been coach here, it's been one of those areas that we just can't really define. Now, I will tell you, Henry there, that is an outlier. If you go back and look at the Bills' defenses there when they played, I mean, Henry's run all over us. But I do believe that the run game is something that the Bills still can't figure out what to do there. So, yes, I think last week's game with Henry is a bit of an outlier just because of the running back that he is. But is it concerning going forward? Certainly by the Bills, certainly.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, you throw in Lamar Jackson being a quarterback. You have a quarterback with a pretty similar skill set in Justin Fields this week. So we'll see if the running quarterback
exactly
gives them an issue as well. All right. So
and Lamar,
you had mentioned Matt Milano.
And Lamar, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to address Matt Milano for sure.
Yes, absolutely, definitely.
Maybe if I said there's one player on the Bills defense that I fear, it's been him, because I know how hard he can hit. We know what he did with Mike White, how he basically bruised his ribs, and the Jets season was never the same after that. The Mike F. and White thing was just never the same again after Matt Milano. But Milano's been dealing with injuries the last couple of years. Where do you think he is? Is he still the same force that he was? Is he working his way back? Where's Matt Milano right now?
Yeah, great question, Adam. So Matt Milano, I mentioned it earlier, another one of those draft picks that Brandon Beane kind of plucked in the middle to late rounds there out of BC. No one really knew who he was. Turned out to be an all-pro. Look, he's been battling some injuries these last couple seasons. Been out of the lineup quite a bit. This is his first season where he really feels comfortable. Feels like he's back to where the old Matt Milano is. It's a contract year for Matt here. I don't expect him to be here next year for the Bills, but certainly a staple of the defense and someone that we're going to rely on heavily, especially the run game there.
Yeah, and for a team like the Jets, whose offense is really predicated on running the ball effectively, you need those types of run stoppers. And, yeah, they're going to have to definitely step their game up. Reese, Braylon, Isaiah, and Justin, all 4 of them. I don't think there's any doubt.
Yeah, and if Matt Milano can stay healthy for the Bills and the linebackers, that's definitely going to help when it comes to the run game. And I know he was on the field when Henry and the Ravens were there last week, but certainly Matt is a polarizing asset to the Bills defense. The problem with him, he's got to stay healthy. And that's been really the issue with Matt these last couple seasons is being healthy.
Yes, there's so many players that we could talk about. We look at Elijah Vera-Tucker on our end, an amazing
yeah,
talent.
Exactly.
One of the top guards in football. I would say a top 10 guard when right, but he's had 3 season-ending injuries in 5 years, and it's at some point you either have to pay or let him go, and it's an unfortunate thing, but that's just football can be cruel at times. It really does hurt.
Yeah.
So coming off that huge emotional.
Yeah, and I think. Yeah.
So
I was just going to say, just on the Matt Milano.
I was back out.
Just real quick on the Matt Milano. Yeah, just real quick on the Matt Milano thing. To your point there, Williams is his backup here. So one of the things that Brandon Beane does really well is he drafts, re-signs his players there. And so with Matt Milano being a contract year, Williams certainly can step into that role and be an impact player. He is also an underrated linebacker that not a lot of people talk about as well. And he is on some packages too there, but certainly something to keep your eye on.
Gotcha. Oh, I did want to throw one receiver question at you. So Keon Coleman sort of had his breakout. 8 catches, 112 yards, 1 touchdown, 6 first downs as well. I always like to look at first downs to see, to move the chains. I think it's a stat that's important that people don't look at all that often. So do you trust Coleman as your number 1 receiver? And after that, who do you believe the biggest receiving threat is on the Bills, whether it's Palmer, whether it's Khalil Shakir? And don't tell me Elijah Moore, because we ain't buying it as Jets fans.
And I know you're not buying that, because we mentioned that on the Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover podcast, which we'll be launching here later this week. So I do know your feelings on that. Yeah, look, Keon Coleman is a polarizing athlete. He was polarizing coming out of college. Obviously, the jacket thing with Keon Coleman, that hit waves. I think really going into training camp, and if you watch Hard Knocks here, I was really surprised that they did not feature Keon as much as they did. And from what I hear is Keon's kind of taken a step back, and he's really kind of learned to try to be a pro. And what I mean by that is last year, because he's a polarized athlete, he was in the media a lot. So we really didn't see a whole lot of Keon Coleman in the offseason. Obviously, fast forward to last week against the Ravens, had a great game. So, yeah, I do believe Keon Coleman is going to be a huge asset to the Bills going forward. To your question about a number 1 wide receiver, like I mentioned earlier, a couple years ago, that was the big talk with the Bills when they let Stephon Diggs go. How is that going to all work? And again, it comes down to number 17, Josh Allen. If Josh Allen is behind center, it's a plug-and-play offense. Not saying he's Tom Brady, but very much that New England Patriots, Tom Brady kind of offense, just kind of plug and play. The Bills do not need a number 1 wide receiver, a Jefferson in Minnesota or anything like that. I think Keon Coleman's going to do well. I think people are sleeping a bit on Palmer. I thought that was a huge pickup, kind of take the top off the ball there. And then obviously you got Shakir, who is, the Bills' number 1 target in the slot.
And I would agree with the perspective on Josh Allen isn't Tom Brady. He has never been caught cheating. So I got no issues saying. I got no issues saying that.
Or deflate the ball. There you go.
There you go. Oh, we actually have a question from the chat for you real quick. Danger Zone. Can Owen share his worst take he's had since podcasting, if any stick in his memory? Man, he's asking you to call yourself out right now. Does anything come to mind for your
worst take? Man.
Wow. Why don't you do your best one
on the podcast?
Yeah. You can do best and worst. I'll be nice.
Yeah. Worst take. I had mentioned that I thought a couple preseason matchups. I had Cole Bishop, safety, as a huge breakout year. Didn't pan out well. That was kind of one of my worst takes there. Didn't look well against Baltimore. That's going to be an area of very concern for Bills Mafia and the Bills. And my best take, you're going to have to probably wait till Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover launches this week's episode with your man Adam. We talk a little bit about special teams, and I'll just give you a little nugget with the kickoff, the dynamic kickoff here. You are going to see teams. It's going to be a huge aspect, way bigger than what it is today, because you are not going to be able to allow Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson starting at 35. So you gotta wait till that podcast drops in a couple days to hear that. But I would say those are probably the 2.
All right, yeah. All you got to do is pretty much move the ball 20 yards, and nowadays you're in field goal range. It's unbelievable how it goes. We got Buy Stocks here. Well, welcome to the channel, Buy Stocks. Appreciate it. Please hit that thumbs up, subscribe. Really appreciate it. He's picking Buffalo 26-24, so he feels like it's going to be a pretty close game. I could deal with that. Danger's calling himself out. No way we're signing Nick Folk, and Breece Hall sucks. Okay. There you go. Stephen Hill is a wide receiver who the only games he ever had that were good were against the Bills, amazingly enough.
That's right.
That was a bit, and I believe it might be a little too long, so I got to own that one.
Yeah, and I did talk this with you, Adam. I do think that, and for your Jet listeners there, especially coming from Bills Mafia, I love the hire there for the Jets. I think it's for me, the organization seems like it's a shift. Now, obviously, again, Josh Allen, in the division is going to be really tough for a lot of those other teams. But I do feel that the way the Jets went about to hire the head coach and get the organization set up correctly, Justin Fields is a bridge quarterback for you guys right now. He's going to win some games for you. So I do really like how the Jets kind of approach the offseason and getting and hiring the coach there. So props for the Jets for that for sure.
I agree. It was really about not signing huge marquee names. It was about, and that's why Aaron Rodgers was jettisoned, amongst other reasons. I think there were financial reasons behind it too. But Aaron Glenn had to come in and show he was boss. He had to reduce the egos in the locker room, and there were just too many of those last year. Rodgers certainly being the biggest one of all. Not necessarily knocking him, it's just the way that it was. If Aaron Rodgers was there, he's still the alpha male. And we're seeing that players are buying into what Aaron Glenn has been believing. We see that Xavier Gibson got released today. My goodness, there were Jet fans screaming for that to happen after that.
Yeah.
After that fumble, and one play, he lived off it for 2 years, but the time's run out. And it's like Aaron Glenn said, if you do things that make this team lose games, you're not going to be on the field with us. He didn't say that you're going to get cut. He didn't say you're going to be gone, but he did say you won't be on the field. That does give him some wiggle room. And when it was probably one of the last guys to make the team, you know what? He was expendable, and he's gone. And it's what they had to do because we haven't seen that in a while. All right, so let's give you one more question. And remember, I got some I got some trivia questions for you, being that I do a lot of trivia.
You had mentioned the trivia, so this could be interesting here. Bills Mafia may certainly I may get some emails tomorrow or later on today when these trivia questions come. But Bills Mafia is all family, so yeah.
I do believe that, and I do expect Bill fans to know their history a little bit. So, all right, so I'm going to give you one more question, then we'll get into the trivia. So coming off that huge win on Sunday night at home against one of the best teams in the AFC, and also you've got a game next Thursday against Miami. Quick turnaround.
That's right.
The Bills could get off to a slow start. Maybe they're overlooking the Jets a little bit, who are not getting pretty much any respect. Does that concern you?
Yeah, it doesn't concern me. Look, last year the Bills played Arizona, first game of the season, and they started off very slow. Similar to Baltimore, it wasn't as big of a deficit going into that, but they certainly start off slow. Josh didn't play in the preseason, nor did he play this year. So the slow start certainly was a concern for us going into Baltimore. Look, Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane, that organization top down is so mentally focused, and it has been since McDermott's gotten to the Bills here. So they are focused one game at a time. That's their slogan. One game at a time. They don't overlook Miami. They are focused on the Jets. So I don't think, if anything, I think the Bills come out firing and certainly come out with more passion and more urgency to get on the board quick. But I don't see any issue as far as overlooking the Jets. They're focused. In fact, if you go back and look at Bills media stuff, they're focused one day at a time. They're focused on Wednesday's practice. They're focused on Thursday practice and so forth and so on. So I do not think there's going to be any letdown by the Bills. Nor looking forward to Miami. Two tough games, right? Two very tough games, divisional games coming up. Miami, who knows what's going on with them, but it is still a divisional game. So I think they'll be ready to go.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this from my perspective. If I have no problem saying the Bills are a more talented team than the Jets. I mean, I'd be foolish if I tried to convince you of anything else. If the Bills win because they just have more talent, then you know what? I can live with that. I just don't want to see the Jets give the game away. I don't want them to be in a position and then we see a dumb penalty. We see a drop pass. We see something like that where you give it away. That's the one thing, because the best teams don't beat themselves. And that's what the Jets have done far too much. So that's what I'm hoping most for on Sunday.
Yeah, and special teams is going to be huge. Special teams is going to be huge, Adam, here, because, again, you are, Aaron Rodgers last week, but you got Josh Allen this week. So that is going to be – I'm going to die on the hill with special teams. That is going to be a huge piece that Jet fans should really look at and see how they go about doing that, because like you said, I mean, certainly the Bills on paper are much better than the Jets. But if Josh starts at that 35-yard line or beyond, it could be a long day. Long day. So
Exactly. And of course, you have our old boy, Brandon Codrington, who we traded over to your return the kick. So I fully expect him to take one at least past the 40. Why would I be shocked if
that's
that
it.
happened? Why would I be shocked?
That's it.
All right. Well, I definitely appreciate your time. So we're going to
Yeah. Hey, appreciate it.
We got to do some trivia. So let's add that
Yeah, let's
to
do
the
it.
screen. All right. So everybody can see it. Hopefully you can see it on your phone as well. So I'm going to read the question.
I get it.
Usually I time this, I give 5 minutes, but we're just going to see how we go here. So I got 2 questions. One I think is on the easier side. One's going to be a little more challenging. So let's see how we do. All right, Owen, from Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover. Drew Smith has the most sacks in Bills history with 171. Who ranks second all time?
Ooh. Yeah, that's a great question.
You're welcome to join.
Seconds here on the Bills. Yeah, you got current 90s. Daryl Talley. I was thinking Daryl Talley.
It is not Daryl Talley, and we're not going back to the 60s or 70s. We're not going back that far.
Yeah, it's going to be
not Aaron Maben. Danger knows what's
Aaron Maben.
Yeah, he played for us. He had like 5 good games, and that was the end of that run.
Yeah, that Aaron Maben. That's a good one. Yeah, I don't know who's second on here.
Want to take one more guess?
I think it's like Schobel.
You got it, Aaron Schobel.
Is it Schobel? Okay, yeah, there you go. Yeah, I was thinking he.
But not a lot of other general football fans would know his name. So yeah, but Aaron Schobel.
Yeah, I was thinking Hughes. I was kind of thinking like that era. Maven was funny. I was thinking kind of there. So Aaron Schobel for sure. Yeah, that is a tough one.
Yeah, and he had 78 career sacks, by the way. 78.
Okay, there you go.
All right. Now I'm going to give you the Jets Bills trivia question. Now we're going to take it up a notch, just a notch or two.
Here we go.
Name 2 Bills who ran for at least 1,500 yards, who also played for the Jets in their career. So they ran for 1,500 or more yards with the Bills. That's in their career. They also played for the Jets. Chat.
Frank Gore.
Let's see if you're bringing it tonight.
Frank Gore.
Say again.
Frank Gore.
Frank Gore? No. Frank Gore is incorrect.
Running back.
Yeah, just with the Bills. Danger Zone
who also played
is one a quarterback. I can neither confirm nor deny that, Danger. I just said players. I didn't say positions. That's possible.
My boy Fitzmagic.
It is not Ryan Fitzmagic.
I'm
surprised he ran for 15.
Yeah, I don't. I know that was a long shot, 1,500 yards there, but your chatter there threw it in there, QE. How about I know? Give me Tyrod Taylor.
That is correct. Tyrod Taylor ran for 1,575 yards with the Bills. So far, he's run for 13 yards with the Jets.
The other one, geez. I can't think of the other one.
The other one, okay. I want to give the chat. Chat, I'm going to give you a moment. I can tell you the other one is not a quarterback. You would think of him more as a Bill than you would a Jet. I'll give you that much. And I'll give you guys a minute or so, and we'll go from there.
1,500 yards. Let's see.
Oh, yeah.
Running back. So, geez. I don't know. The chat, your Jet chat's got to get this one here.
Yeah, Chat doesn't have a whole lot to say about this one. All right. I'll go ahead and give this one up. So, The correct answers are Tyrod Taylor and C.J. Spiller.
C.J. Spiller.
321 yards for the Bills, and he had one season, well, about half a season as a Jet. And I know you wouldn't normally think of him as a Jet, but he was for a very brief period.
Yeah, I was gonna say I did not know that CJ went to the Bills. Well, that was during Bills Mafia's 17-year drought there, but that's a good one.
Yeah, so I kind of have fun. That's how I got kind of started doing this whole thing, was coming out with
No, that's good. I got Showbowl though. That one definitely would have hurt me with Bills Mafia for sure.
That is true. All right, Owen. Hey, I want to thank you. And for everybody else in the chat, we're going to get back to the snap counts. We're going to start to do a little bit more of a game preview. So hang tight. But Owen, enjoy the rest of your vacation. Enjoy those Myrtle Beach days, which, by the way, is a very cool song on YouTube. It's got that Carolina feel to it. So look up Myrtle Beach days if you haven't already. Have a great rest of your trip. And all the best to you and Bills Mafia. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. Take care. Thank you so much. Go Bills.
Jets. All right, that was great. Again, I thank Owen for coming by and hanging out with us. He's a good dude. He's a good dude. I hung out with him on Tuesday night. We chatted for about 35 minutes, so he'll be posting that podcast a little bit later in the week. So check that out for sure. Yeah, Harlan, I would have forgotten about it too. Yeah, that's definitely during the Black Cloud days. But CJ Spiller was very briefly a Jet. It is true. All right, let's get back to a couple of the snap counts. I'm going to go over to defense, and then we'll do, like I said, we'll do the 5 things to know about the Bills. I'll give you just a couple of things about the game. Later in the week, I'll be doing my confidence picks. Look for that on Thursday, and by Friday night, I plan to have up my full game preview and also my bold predictions video for the game. So I'll be heading to New York this weekend. And I leave early Saturday morning. So I will have all my videos up by Friday night. So be on the lookout. All right. Defense played 56 snaps. JJ, wow. Can you believe Jermaine Johnson played 50 snaps in this game? This coaching staff, they trust him. They trust he's healthy. And I thought he played incredibly well. I thought Jermaine was on, had a 77.1 PFF rating overall. It's pretty good. Now, here's what I didn't understand. Will McDonald played only 31 snaps, and Michael Clemens played 30. So I guess they wanted Will to stay fresh. And I'm not saying Clemens was, abhorrently bad or anything like that. But I'm sorry, Will McDonald cannot have only one more snap than Michael Clemens. Just doesn't make sense. Tyler Barron played 7 snaps, and if you noticed him, I'd be amazed. Quinn Williams, fantastic. 43 snaps. He missed a good chunk of it. Aaron Glenn said he stubbed his toe a little bit. And on that one drive when the Steelers came right down the field, Williams really wasn't playing all that much. Harrison Phillips, the ex-Bill, the ex-Viking, looked pretty good, 34 snaps. He didn't like how he played, but Harrison Phillips is there to really play the run, as we know. And I thought he did it well. Jay Tafele played 17 snaps. Juwan Briggs played 12. I noticed Briggs. They really used Briggs in like those 3rd and short situations, and I thought that worked pretty well. I will say this: can Leonard Taylor please play this week? Can we? I understand if against the Steelers, if you want to focus more on the run game, you're going to play Tufele. I want to see Leonard Taylor back in the lineup. I really, really do. Javian Sherwood, Quincy Williams played all 56 snaps to nobody's surprise. Marceline McCreary-Brawl played 11. Kiko Mauioga played 7. Didn't really notice the 2 of them all that much outside of special teams. But the Jets were really going very heavy on a 4-2-5 defense. Now, here's what's so interesting to me. The cornerbacks, Sauce, Stevens, they played the whole game. The latter much to many Jet fans' chagrin. But Michael Carter played 37 snaps. I thought it was amazing that no other Jets cornerback got in the game on defense. Quantez Stiggers didn't play. Azarie Thomas didn't play. And you have Jet fans calling right now for Brandon Stevens to get benched in favor of a rookie who hasn't played one NFL snap yet, and you want to put him against possibly the best quarterback in the NFL. Make it make sense, guys. Make it make sense. I understand you being upset with Stevens, but let's not throw Thomas right into the fire. Give him a few snaps per game and let's see what happens. Because remember, he was also hurt for a decent part of training camp. I think he's still working his way back in. Then at safety, it was only 3. Andre Sisco, 56. Tony Adams, 56. Malachi Moore played 1 snap. Isaiah Oliver didn't see the field either. The Jets did not go deep into their secondary like we saw under Saleh and under Ulbrich. Danger zone. I can't believe someone else spelled Michael right. You're right, but on the other side, if you look at Breece Hall, I put him one too many L's there, so I got to take an L on that, right? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right. Ball did force a fumble. That's right. Yeah, he didn't recover a fumble. Just didn't recover any fumbles, but he did force one. So you are absolutely right there. The reason why I'm more confident in Malachi Moore is, one, he's got a little more experience than Thomas does. He's a little bit more seasoned. He did play 1 snap, but I got a little more confidence in Brandon Stevens than I do Tony Adams. I just don't. Tony Adams can make a play here and there, but for every play he'll make, he'll give up 2. We've seen enough of Tony Adams, I think, to know what he is. He's okay in the moment playing a little bit, but if you're counting on him as a starter, that's not a very good sign. So I thought it was just very interesting. The Jets did not go very deep with their defensive rotation. They just played who they played, and that was essentially it. Did not go deep at all. Harlan wants to see Malachi Moore play more snaps. Hey, I'm good. I'm good with it. I know more. He's going to take smart angles to the football. I'm very confident about that. And he's a better tackler than Adams is. He's a better tackler than Andre Sisco is too. So Bryce Carter got a few snaps and no other corner got to play at all. Yeah, I didn't notice that in the moment. But yeah, no Stiggers and no Thomas. So that does bear watching. Because to me, I just don't think you could start a kid who hasn't seen a single snap yet at that position. His cornerback, we know, is a very, very hard position to learn. All right. Okay, so let's spend a minute here talking about this game. The Week 2 preview, Jets versus Bills. I got a shot of Josh Allen and Jamian Sherwood. Hey, Jamian, I want you to up your game this week. You got paid. Let's play a little better. Let's not allow so many catches and coverage. So I'm going to give you 5 things to know about Buffalo. This is a shot of Matt Prater. Looked like he's about to blow chunks all over the New Era Field turf. I don't know why. That picture just made me, it just amused me. But 5 things to know about the Bills. Number 1, they allowed 238 yards rushing to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, you could tell me it's Lamar Jackson and it's a Hall of Famer and Derrick Henry, but 238 yards is still 238 yards, okay? And like we talked about with Owen, number 2, they got a quick turnaround. They got to face Miami on a Thursday night. Could the Jets be that little sneaky game in the middle where they don't come out all that sharp? Owen said he wasn't overly worried about it. I got to see it. Number 3, the Bills were plus 24 in turnovers last season. They didn't, like I said, they don't beat themselves. They take the ball away from other teams. And I think if the Jets are going to win this game, they cannot afford to be negative in the turnover margin. Number 4, the Bills have won 5 straight AFC East titles, and in that time frame, they have a record of 61 wins and 22 losses. Wow. Right now, they're like the Marty Schottenheimer San Diego Chargers. Is kind of where they are. Never quite got to the big game, but in contention, in serious contention every season. And number 5, as you can see right on the screen, their current kicker is Matt Prater, 41 years old, still has a big leg, made all 3 of his field goals against Baltimore. Tyler Bass, the incumbent kicker, is on IR. So let's just really talk about this. This is sort of your initial game preview before I get into more depth on the video I'm going to drop on Friday. What can the Jets do to win this game? Any given Sunday, we know anything can happen. We know this. So I don't expect Josh Allen to be suspended for the game. That would be my biggest ray of hope. I kind of don't see that happening. I don't know of any gambling issues that are going on or any laws being broken, anything like that. But on Sunday, the Bills put up 497 total yards against a Ravens defense that last year finished 8th in yards allowed. They put up 41 points against the Ravens defense that, again, was 8th in the league, allowed 21 yard points per game last year. So I think the Jets need to be +2 or better in turnovers. The Jets did not take the ball away from Pittsburgh. Nowadays, with the kickoff rules, where you're starting on the 35, if the ball goes into the end zone, and you're starting on the 35. If that's the situation, you got to take the ball away because it only takes about 3 first downs for you to be in field goal range. Now, by the way, if the kickoff bounces on the field, goes into the end zone, then I think you start at the 20. That's the one catch to the kickoff rule. But when you have kickers now who make 60-yard field goals in their sleep, even if ours can't, but most of them can, you have to make impact plays. You can't just be a bend but don't break defense anymore. So takeaways are essential. And last year, the Jets only took the ball away 17 times, once per game on average. The Bills took the ball away 32 times last year. Huge, huge, huge. Jets got to control the clock. Time of possession. Wear the defense down. Average 5 yards per run again, like they did against Pittsburgh. And you can't make the dumb plays. You can't take the penalties like Quincy Williams did, hitting the Steelers player out of bounds. John Simpson, I got no issue with what he did because he was defending his quarterback. I got no problem with that penalty. But the Jets have to make the Bills beat them. If it comes down to talent and Josh Allen just makes a big play, you can live with that. But if it comes down to a dumb penalty, a special teams mistake, a fumble, a situation like that, that's going to sting. Now, some injuries to mention. Christian Benford, a little bit banged up at cornerback. That could loom large. But the other injury we didn't talk about yet, James Cook, their running back, limited in practice today with a hamstring injury. So we don't know how serious it is. We don't know if he's going to go or not. But if he can, now you've got Ray Davis, who barely played last week, and our old buddy Ty Johnson, who just won't go away. So now it's several steps up. And look what the Jets are facing. I know that people will say, well, if they lose but play well, not a big deal. Here's the bottom line. If you lose this game, you are now staring 0-2 in the face, both losses at home and both losses in conference. And that conference thing is going to hurt you when it comes to tiebreakers. So I want to see Leonard Taylor play, get more of a pass rush against Josh Allen more consistently, play Will McDonald more. Let's see Malachi more. Let's see that and see where that takes this defense. So that's what I'm looking for. On offense, keep doing what you were doing if you can keep doing it. As far as strategy goes, there isn't much that I would change. Maybe a few more shots down the field, maybe. Because I can only remember maybe 2 passes that went more than 20 yards downfield, one of which turned out to be a Garrett Wilson touchdown. Oh, and when Braylon's on the field, can we not just automatically run up the middle and just give it away? You have 3rd and 11. You can't just be running a draw play with Isaiah Davis. You cannot just try to get yards back. You have to get aggressive and go for every first down you can. You can't just be giving up possessions to an offense that's that explosive. All right. So, guys, I'll tell you what. Those are my points. I'm just looking at a couple of chats right now. If you guys got any more thoughts or got any questions, throw them at me. And I'm gonna just mourn today, man. I'm just gonna mourn. Yeah, this is a very dark week for our country. Tomorrow's 9/11. This is a bad, bad week for our country, man. And, as crazy as I get over these Jets games, this is the shit that puts it all in perspective. I got to tell you. Danger Zone, Battle of the Old Foots, Folk Prater Edition. That's right. Yeah, you do. Oh, and the Bills, they just changed punters, too. They signed Cam Johnson, I believe. So they got a new punter themselves. So. Harlan, try to pass more this game. Test the Bills' cornerbacks. Roll out fields more. Yeah, Rasul Douglas is not, he's not there anymore. You got Christian Benford. You've got, Elam's gone, unfortunately. But let's see how good Dorian Strong is. Owen was really putting over Darian Strong. Let's see what he could do. And Teron Johnson, he didn't, I don't think he practiced today. Their slot corner, he was beat up too. So it might be a situation where the Jets try to put some play. Maybe you put Breece Hall in the slot, something like that. Especially if Mason Taylor's limited, maybe you put Breece out wide. Maybe you try something like that if you don't believe that, Reynolds or Johnson are going to do it consistently. And can we give Arian Smith more than 6 snaps, please? Just a little more than 6. Just a little more. So let's see what winds up happening. Jets have decisions to make, and it's going to take a damn near perfect game to beat, my mind, just about the best team in the NFL. Hey, Yeti, how you doing? I've been seeing you a bunch in the chats. I see you're supporting. You've been supporting just about everybody. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. Always good to see you, man. Glad you're here. All right, I'm just going to quickly pull up the show on YouTube, just using my phone and the laptop for this particular show. All right, let's see. We got 9 likes so far. Yeah, guys, if you haven't hit that thumbs up, please do so, guys. Help support the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't. All these things, they help the channel, help spread the word out. So I definitely appreciate it. All right, guys. So again, the plan is Thursday night. I will be dropping the predictions video for the game. My confidence picks. My first week sucked. I went 8-8 first week. Now I got the big games right, but a lot of the games I was torn about didn't go how I was predicting them. So I got to have a big bounce back week 2, and then by Friday night, you will get the Jets versus Bills, the full game preview. And you will also get the 5 bold predictions video for Jets Bills. That's where I drop the final score. I just like to break the videos up so you're not watching one long video, just to break it up a little bit, since, I found like the shorter videos tend to get more views. So that's just the way that I tend to do it. And then Saturday, I will be in New York City. I will be at an all-you-can-eat pizza festival on Randall's Island. I am pumped up. 40 different pizzerias, either 30, somewhere between 35 and 40 from around the country will be there. So I'm incredibly excited to eat a ton of pizza. And then Sunday, right now, it looks like I'm going to be going to the Mets-Rangers game. I'm staying in Queens. I think just to get all the way out to East Rutherford and back, plus the money that you got to pay to go to a game compared to a baseball game, just really don't know if it's worth it to go all the way out there for Jets Bills. I got as much as the Mets suck right now, I got a touch more confidence in Mets-Rangers than I do Jets Bills. That's just how I'm feeling right now. Then I'll be in the city also on Monday. And then by Monday night, I will be back. And I will find a way to I think we do get we don't get Jets Bills locally. But since I will be in New York, I'll probably just watch the game maybe on my tablet while I'm at the Mets game. I might have to double dip here. But I'll get a little bit creative, and I will find a way to watch what I need to watch. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks so much for joining me tonight. A very special thanks to Owen from Bills Mafia Carolina Takeover podcast for joining me as well. Be sure to check out his channel. His interview with me will be dropping either Thursday or Friday. So everybody, I'm just going to say this. If you have a family, give them an extra big hug tonight. Tell them you love them. Because with this world and with some of the evil fucks that are out there, you don't know how much time you have. God bless America. God bless all of you. God bless Charlie. And whether you agreed with him or not, that's irrelevant. Whether you agree with his beliefs or not, God bless Charlie Kirk. Have a good night, everybody. Talk to you later.